Good morning, all of you. So today's class will conclude everything 2D collisions, impulse, and variable mass concept also. So in variable mass concept, yesterday we discussed few set of numericals which were related to only that particular acceleration velocity. Today we'll focus on what about the power, what about the work done when that thrust force coming to picture, when mass of system varies, how to manage the problems with the work done and power also. That one. Before that, 2D collisions, that one, in C frame, because we have discussed the one-dimensional collision in center of mass frame. We got some information. Now, in two-dimensional collision also, how the C frame is going to help us a lot. Then after that, collision of subatomic particles. So these are things which we are going to confine. So today one best numericals is what I'm going to place in front of you. Do make observation. You may find little bit difficult. At least after class, you think and analyze once. Little bit lengthy also questions. So we'll try to finish off as many as possible. Very good concepts are involved in this one. I'll proceed with this. So read the question on the screen now. Now two balls of unequal masses. So first in lab frame. Lab frame means ground. Laboratory frame means in the ground, that one. They're moving in opposite to each other. So at one time is saying heavier particle. Something we're discussing about the collision of particles here. So let this be heavier particle. Let me take M1 is heavier particle. It is moving with a V1 and there's a lighter particle. It is moving with a velocity U2. So what about center of mass? And both are moving with equal speeds. Okay, problem has become a little bit easier, that one. So what is the velocity of center of mass, what direction? Because M1 greater than M2, I'm assuming. This heavier. A lot of background we are setting up this one. Heavier. This is a lighter particle. So then what is the expression for velocity of center of mass? This is all before collision. Huh? Before collision. Okay, now what is the expression for velocity of center of mass? This should be equal to m1u minus m2u I cap by m1 plus m2. Keep it this, it's a very important equation which is going to help us a lot. And then in C frame, how the things will be for us? In C frame, the same problem. In C frame, for that I need what is the velocity of the one with respect to center of mass, that one u1c is needed. No? So what is u1c? Velocity of 1 with respect to 2. What is velocity of 1? U, u I cap, m1u plus m2u I cap by m1 plus m2. Solving this, we'll get, I'll get this as 2m2u I cap by m1 plus m2. Similarly, you can find out u2c also. I'll directly write it. Similarly, velocity of second particle with respect to center of mass. Velocity of second particle minus velocity of center of mass. Solving again, what is u2 minus u? So let me write directly here. 2m1u I cap by m1 plus m2. Okay, now go back to momentum with respect to center of mass is always conserved, no? This is before collision. We are discussing everything, this idea before collision. So now in C frame, how do it will appear? I think I'll write it that C frame here only. No. Now, in C frame, how do they appear? Look at this U1C. U1C is towards right, no? Positive. Whatever U2C towards left. So in the C frame, the same particle, is that okay, no? So U2, I substituted all with sign, no? Everything. So I'll end up. So this is where in C frame, they appear moving. So with a speed U1C and U2C that. And now, what is the momentum with respect to center of mass? Here we'll calculate momentum. This is all before collision. What we are discussing is before collision it is. Now, momentum with respect to center of mass is always zero, no? So this one, so let me write M1 U1C minus this one. So momentum with respect to center of mass. Momentum with respect to center of mass. Before collision it is. So this should be equal to how much? M1 U1C bar plus M2 U2C bar. Anybody, how much it should be? It must be zero, no? Check it once. Substitute here M1, 2 M1, M2 U I cap, M1 plus M2 minus 2 M2 U1. So it will be 0. So momentum with respect to center of mass will always be 0. Now from this, can we conclude anything? M1 U1C should be equal to M2 U2C. I got equal to 0. So finally, so what I can equate is M1 U1C is equal to M2 U2C. This is from this equation, I'm concluding this much here. So this is called equation A. Equation A got on. No? So let me take this as B. This as equation C. So one very important M1 U1C equal to M2 U2C. I'll let me call. I'm giving number so that it'll be very easy because little bit almost 10 equations is what I have to generate. No, let's proceed like this here. Momentum with respect to center of mass is always 0. There's a comment, I'll write it nearby. So it'll be easy for you. This is before collision. Okay, now let's come for after collision, what will happen? After collision, okay, let's get into the problem. After collision, the heavier particle is observed to deviate from its original direction of motion by an angle 30 degree in the laboratory frame, and in the C frame it will get deviated by 60 degrees. So let's put both the diagrams here. No. What do you mean by that? Original direction, how the particle 1 was moving towards right. No? After collision, it will get deviated by an angle how much it is? Saying 30 degrees. So this will be 30 degrees. This will deviate by 60 degrees. So this is the particle M1. In ground frame after collision, it will have speed V1. In the laboratory frame after collision, it will have V1C. So this is what that beta and this is what that alpha. Originally how it was moving along axis. This is very important, the first diagram. What do you expect the other particle? The other particle. No, this is the We are not bothered that angle. Leave it that is some angle theta. Okay, now this is what? Lab frame. Huh? This is C frame. Now you have to ask very good question to teachers. So why you are here? This okay? They'll collide and they'll get deviated. What about here? How come? Why they should be equal and opposite? Because momentum with respect to center of mass must always be zero, no? Because in C frame is what this diagram is there. Huh? If this deviates, if it is moving along this direction, then the other particle should have momentum opposite to the first particle in C frame. In the ground frame, momentum is conserved. First of all, you can ask questions like, okay, what makes them to deviate? There's a collision of particles, not like a balls. Here is saying balls, then here is saying particle. So what we are discussing, it's a particle only. Don't get it should be a particle only. The where particle is observed deviated from its original direction. Sir, why you are not writing quotient of restitution? For subatomic particles, quotient of restitution is not defined. Any reason for that? Electron, can it undergo deformation? Nuclei, can it undergo deformation after collision? I think it's quite meaningless, no? So therefore, the quotient of restitution is not defined for subatomic particles. Then, sir, for subatomic particles, what I should do? You can apply if the elastic collision, conservation of kinetic energy. If the inelastic collision, then kf will be greater than ki, kf will be less than ki. That's another thing. Next after this, so what happens? Momentum in any direction you can conserve, because like it's like a 2D collision, no? In any direction, usually we prefer along x, along y, or in any direction it can be conserved here. So when collision of subatomic particles come, the momentum conservation is what going to help us. And quotient of restitution is not defined, because say, what do you mean by deformation? The body should undergo deformation or reformation, no? Is it possible for electron to undergo deformation? It's a particle, no? No further deformation. Similarly with nuclei, no deformation. Got it, no? So no way anything you are going to bring E into the picture. This should be very clear. Okay, let's do one thing. After looking at the diagram in the laboratory frame, what is the velocity of center of mass? Of course, they move in some different direction here, no? M1, V1 bar. This is after collision, no? Lab frame after collision. This is C frame after collision. Now, what is the expression for velocity of center of mass here? Vc bar should be equal to M1 V1 bar, M2 V2 bar by M1 plus M2. Do we know V1 bar? We don't know. Do we know V2 bar? We don't know. But we know due to collision, what will happen to velocity of center of mass? Should remain constant, no? The velocity of center of mass will not change. Will agree? Go back, because what is the net force acting on system during collision will be zero. So velocity of center of mass will not change. So shall I write Vc bar is in fact equal to Uc bar from equation A? Velocity of center of mass should not change. Means even after collision, how velocity of center of mass here will be moving. For your understanding purpose, I'm just putting it here. It will continue to move like this. There's a very important part of the observation what you're making. Keep it this. Okay, that one. Now in C frame, we'll see that one. Momentum with respect to center of mass will be zero before collision. After collision also, I just put a one very broad statement, no? Momentum with respect to center of mass is always zero, either before collision or after collision. Here is, let me write, is center of mass. This is before collision. After collision also, will it be zero? Yes, it should be no, because momentum with respect to momentum of system with the center, it should be always zero, that one. So the same idea, I'm going to bring it here, no? Momentum before collision also. What is the basic idea? Momentum with the center of mass is always zero, that one. So from here, PCF, I'll write it. Momentum of system with respect to center of mass, finally after collision. So what is the formula? M1 V1C So if I equate, it will be like this: M2 V2C. M1 V1C by M2 equal to V2C. This is equation 1. I'll call this is equation 2. This is equation 3. I think almost now we are able to complete the problem. This the background is what we needed here now. Okay, fine. 1, 2, 3, which I'm going to take help of. These are ABCs. This is about initial thing, that one. This is the after collision. This is the before collision. So fine, okay. What is our, how many times is asking? Just M1 by M2, no? Are you able to see, all of you? There's a data, there's a information, what is given in the question, we have put it in an order. Okay, let's come for how to get M1 by M2. Shall I take help of equation 1? We don't know U1C and U2C, am I right? If I look at the equation 2, we don't know V1C and V2C. First of all, the U itself we have assumed, no? So something we have to work out further. Let's take the vector diagram. Can I write V1C is equal to V1 bar minus VC bar? How the center of mass, here it's in a C frame. After collision, velocity of center of mass will be moving. So shall we bring V1, VC and V1C? Some very good information available here. Some vector relationship will take it, because what is V1C bar, you can write V1 bar minus VC bar. So draw the one vector diagram. Let's see what will get it. I'll scroll down this one. So looking at after collision, the information. Next part of the problem. I will draw the diagram like this. Can I combine this was the initial V1C, you see V1C, how much of angle V1C? It is making angle beta equal to 60 degrees. What about V1? V1 was making an angle 30 degrees here. So shall we combine these three vectors, and we know velocity of center of mass, how the vector diagram will be. Try this one. This is very important part of the problem. So it will come like this, no? If I draw the vector, this is V1C bar, this is V1 bar, and this is the velocity of center of mass. So then from mathematics, what we know, V1C bar should be equal to V1 bar minus VC bar, no? So let V1 bar, what we can write, V1C bar plus VC bar equal to V1 bar. Now, what is the resultant? The resultant of VC and V1C is what? V1. And what is the angle it is making? It is making an angle alpha here. So tan alpha, go back to the vectors. So what is tan alpha? V1 will be resultant of VC and V1C. We know velocity of center of mass. So V1C, yes, I'll try to see what will get it. So tan alpha, what I can write it as? V1C sine beta cos beta. So now we know beta, alpha. So some had to search for, and we know VC equal to UC. V1C is what? I had to such particular equations. Tell me what I should do after this. This about the everything about the problem. V1C and VC. If I can get some, I should bring M1, M2 here in this equation because I know alpha, beta, I can manage further the problem. So let's do one thing. Let's go back to as collision. What is the nature of collision? Collision is elastic, no? As collision is elastic in nature. What will happen to total kinetic energy? Will be conserved in center of mass frame also. They must have. So in C frame, what is the equation I can write? M1 U1 C square plus M2 U2 C square. This should be equal to M1 V1 C square plus M2 V2 C square by 2. As collision is elastic in nature, so in any frame, kinetic energy will remain constant or will be conserved. So M1 U1 C square plus M2 U2 C square, this one. So now let's me. So what are the equations? 1, 2, 3. Let me call this equation 4. Now what we are trying to do, V1, VC, some relationship is what I'm trying to obtain here. VC, I can write it as UC. A little bit symbols. We'll keep this much in hand. Yeah. Now, shall I take help of equation 1, 2? Substitute 1, 2 in equation 4 because we have V2C, we have U2C. So that I'll get only U1C and V1C. Then I'll get relation between U1C and V1C. Then we'll see that what I can do further. So put 192 in 4. M1, M2. U2C I can write it as M1 U1C by M2 whole square. Try to see equation 1 I'm keeping here at this place. Then M1 2. Don't now replace V2C. What is V2C from this equation 2? So I think what we can do here. Shall I write directly? U1C is equal to V1C. Look at all of you. Look at the terms M1, V1C here, M1, M2. So let me take this equation, very important, equation 5. Okay, somehow I brought V1C here. V1C is what I'm able to express U1C. We don't know U1C. What to do with U1C? Just slide up. Do we have U1C? 2M2 U by M1 plus M2. Do we know VC? VC is what? UC, no? And do we know UC? Equation A. I'll write down all things. So V1C I'll substitute here. So this is the equation. I'll call 6. So such a lengthy problem can be asked in advance because I'm explaining in detail. You can solve it in very half an hour. You can, like in exams around 6 minutes, you can solve it. No, let me substitute 5 in 6. Tan alpha U1C sin beta VC plus V1C now we know U1C and we know VC is equal to UC, that one. So 5, 3 and 5. Let me write here. So in place of VC, what I can write it as? UC. Do we know UNC and UC? Equations A and B. Magnitude substitute. M1, U1, M2, U2. Magnitudes you substitute. So putting A and B in equation 6. I think problem is over. Let's substitute here. So tan alpha U1C. I know value already. I did know 2m2 u by m1 plus m2 sine beta. What about velocity of center of mass? Velocity of center of mass will be m1u minus m2u by m1 plus m2. Again, this is 2m2u by m1 plus m2 cos beta. I think m1, m2 all will get, so that this u will get eliminated. We don't know u, we assumed it. Then only in terms of m1, m2 and m1 plus m2 also will get eliminated. So the final equation here will be, okay, now it's only solving, almost we have reached it here. 2m2 u sine beta m2u plus 2m2u cos beta. This is tan alpha. You also remove it. So take m2 common. Take m2 common. If you take the m2 common, so this will be tan alpha equal to 2 sine beta m1 by m2 minus 1 plus 2 cos beta. We know alpha beta will get the ratio m1 by m2, which will be 3. Just very simple only. This is very important idea. This is the important idea. If you can get this diagram only, you can manage. Otherwise, not possible. Rest all everything we know. They are the basic things. This drawing vector triangle is what? Everything here. The particles, subatomic particles, they collide and they get deflected in that way. This is the nature of collision of subatomic particles, not ordinary bodies. Because the impulse will act horizontally, what makes them to deviate. Here, the moment of what all you can say, the why the particles are moving, they are not defined by impulse momentum equation. Even impulse momentum equation is not defined for collision of subatomic particles. Okay, fine. That's the basic thing. So let me discuss few more subatomic particles so they'll get a basic picture. Just I think this triangle is very important. Rest all everything you know in C frame, lab frame, what to do. I'll come back to subatomic particles. We'll take it. Let me. Okay, read the question now. A particle of mass m there's a particle of mass m. It is moving with a speed u. Let's take it. And there's another particle which is at rest with another stationary particle of mass m. If the incident particle is deflected by 90 degrees, so what will happen after collision is the incident particle will get deflected, and the other particle, the lighter, heavier particle will get deflected. So here is what? Oh, show like this. So there's a particle. So let it be V1. The heavier particle will get deflected through an angle theta. Elastic collision steering. So now you have to ask question, sir, what makes, because you said like something to determine the direction of motion, we should take impulse momentum equation. For subatomic particles, I'm making clear. For subatomic particles, impulse momentum equation and quotient of restitution is not defined. They're meaningless quantity. So Newton's laws of collision are not applicable for subatomic particles. The behavior of subatomic particles is totally different what we study in classical mechanics. That's why we go for quantum mechanics. Why the quantum mechanics has come to explain such things? So why do they deviate? So we don't have any explanation in classical mechanics. So we'll shift ourselves to quantum mechanics. There quantum mechanics I can give suitable explanation. To conserve momentum and to conserve kinetic energy. Impulse momentum equation is not defined, but momentum is defined. Momentum is conserved and energy mass is conserved. Later on, when we go to nuclear physics, we are going to discuss in detail, not just energy, the energy mass is conserved. Here, we are confining to only the is telling elastic collision. So initial kinetic energy equal to final kinetic energy. Let's write equation. Momentum along x-axis. Any direction it is conserved. Since it's very easy to write equations along x-axis, I'm conserving it. So initial momentum, mu, final momentum, 2mv2 cos theta. Then along y-axis, initial momentum 0, mv1, squaring equation 1 and 2 and adding will eliminate like what we have v1 also, v1, v2 and theta. The equation 1, equation 2 is there. So I need one more equation. I'll apply initial kinetic energy equal final kinetic energy. So mu square by 2 should be equal to mv1 square by 2, 2m v2 square by 2. Squaring and adding. First add square and add equation 1 and 2. Then theta will get eliminated. Then substitute that v1, v2 here. Then solve it. So squaring and adding. U square plus v1 square is equal to 2v2 cos theta whole square, 2v2 sin theta whole square. So u square plus v1 square is equal to, this should be 4 8 v2 square. 4v2 square. Now call this equation 4. Solving now 4 and 3 will get v1 and v2. Sir, are you sure? Well, particle 1 will deviate? Yes, I'm very sure. Huh? Why they behave like that? Yes, we can't explain this in classical mechanics. So therefore, the quotient of restitution, all these things are not defined for collision of subatomic particles. Means, sir, how do I come to know what is a collision? If they say the word particles collide, then you should think in this way. Don't go for E and impulse momentum equation. So it is in detail nuclear physics we'll discuss. These are some numericals just I picked up here. Solve this, you'll get expression for theta. V1, V2. After getting V2, substitute here, you get the theta. Just simple idea, nothing to do that one. Very easy for you. Sir, why it should deviate like this only? Now, why not particle 2m moves along straight line? Then momentum will not be conserved, no? Are you able to make a guess of situation here? Particle 1 get deflected here. To conserve momentum, particle 2 advance should move in fourth quadrant. Then only momentum along y-axis will be conserved. Particle 2, sir, why not particle 2 move like this? Let particle 1 go up, no problem. Then momentum along y-axis initially 0, finally should be 0. So therefore the particle 2 must deflect here. Let's take now. This is some very important. Yeah.
Sir, how did you get the fourth equation?
Squaring and adding 1 and 2.
Okay.
Then squaring and adding equation 1 and 2, u square plus v1 square equal to 2v2 cos theta whole square, 2v2 sin theta whole square. Do calculation and I'll proceed to the next idea. Now, a particle of mass m moving with a velocity u is incident on another identical particle of mass m which is at rest. Find the nature of collision if theta 45, 60 and 30 degrees. This is very important information I am sharing with you. For these three cases, we have to analyze here. First, theta 45 degrees. So we'll do one thing, just we'll get an expression for find the nature of collision is telling. What shall I do? If kf equal to ki, it will be elastic. Kf not equal to ki, it will be inelastic. So let me assume theta first case, theta equal to 45 degrees. There's a diagram initially. A very simple problem, no mathematics, nothing, just only you have to there's everything question part. I'll answer. Let me start from here. First case, theta 45 degrees. Particle 1, it moves. It will collide with another particle which is at rest. After deflection, after collision, they will deflect. Both are at rest. After deflection, the first and second particle will be moving like this. So now apply conservation of momentum. mu should be equal to mv 2mv cos 45. U is equal to 2v by root 2. What is v is equal to? U by root 2. Now check initial kinetic energy. Mu square by 2. Final kinetic energy will check it. 2m v square by 2. So this is m u by root 2 whole square. So mu square by 2. So what we got it? Final kinetic energy is equal to initial kinetic energy. So therefore, when theta equal 45 degrees, what is the nature of collision? Elastic collision. And then put theta equals 60 degrees. Just we have to put theta equals 60 degree, again conserve momentum, again write, again final, calculate the final speed. Why they will have same speed? Because they are deflecting symmetrically with respect to initial line of motion. That's what I assume. Sir, how do you can say? Now, let me discuss three cases. Then you have to ask a question like, sir, which one will occur practically? Let's discuss all three cases. Then we'll come back and we'll see that, sir, which one actually practically, which one will occur is what we have to ask ourselves a question. The velocity here in this case, yeah, let it be v only, no problem. Do calculation. Now 60 degrees it is. Initially particle 2 is at rest. There's a 1, this 2. So mu is equal to 2 mv cos 60 degrees. U equal to v from this. Then initial kinetic energy is mu square by 2. Final kinetic energy is 2 mv square by 2 m u square only. Look at final kinetic energy. Less than, greater than initial kinetic energy. How it is possible? Yes, it can happen. Subatomic particles, it can happen. Maybe what happened? The particle 2 may be at higher state, go back to atomic structure. So due to collision, what will come to lower state, and the energy available, what will be converted into kinetic energy of the particles. This can be atom. The particle 1, let it be a 1 be particle, 2, let it be some atom, which is at higher state. Due to collision, comes to lower state. Or 1 may be atom, 2 may be the particle, anything it is. So Kf greater than Ki. So what is the nature of collision now? Inelastic. Theta 60 degrees. No, last one. Theta 30 degrees here. These are the very troublesome ideas for students, because we are just only in classical mechanics is what you are being taught till now. So in our the whole physics, as we proceed now, we'll end up with some question mark. We are unable to answer few of the things that can be answered only in using quantum mechanics. So like when we go for modern physics now, there almost every topic will end up with a question mark. Even in Newton thermodynamics, we'll end up with a question mark. Then how to answer them? That will lead to a quantum mechanics. Then applying conservation of momentum, mu equal to 2mv cos 30 degrees. So u is equal to v root 3. Then initial kinetic energy, mu square by 2. Final kinetic energy, 2mv square by 2 m. Look at final kinetic energy, should be less than. So if the deflecting angle is less than 90, Kf less than Ki. If the deflecting angle is greater than 90, Kf will be greater than Ki. If deflection angle between the colliding particles, if it is equal to 90 degrees, it will be elastic collision. Now your task question, sir, is it same particle? Yes. Let me show complete. I think, okay, yeah, fine. This much, yeah. All three cases are there. First time, the first sequence, I'll send a particle 1, which will collide with identical particle 2, which is at rest. They'll get deflected. The deflection angle between them will be 90 degrees, and they deflect symmetrically with respect to initial momentum of first particle. Then I get elastic collision. Now the same particle again, I'll repeat this event. I'll repeat this event. Then when I repeat this event, what we get is, they'll get again, they collide, they'll get deflected where the deflection angle between them is 120 degrees, and they deflect symmetrically. Then the collision will be inelastic. Now the same particles again, I'll repeat. Then it may happen like this. So then means now like a question comes like a, how do I come to know like a which collision it occurs? We can never predict in collision of subatomic particles that what will happen. Practically what happens, collision occurs, and after collision we have to make observation, oh, this is what it happens here. Means now when particle 1 goes and collides with particle 2, what can happen? Sir, event 1, event 2, or event 3, any one. This is something very abrupt way of the physics what you are seeing now. Because till now the physics what is saying some definite rule, no? And somebody is saying that exchange of velocity, they are particles. And it can happen that particle 1 will collide with particle 2, exchange of velocity occurs, particle 1 will come to rest, and particle 2 will move horizontal. It can also happen. Fourth case I'm bringing. Even this is also possible. It is a test after collision. M1 will be at rest. This is also possible. exchange of velocities. Add-on. The collision may be add-on, the collision may be two-dimensional, the collisions will be elastic, the collision will be inelastic. So altogether, four possibilities are there. So we can never predict what will, how do they collide? They collide, and after collision, looking at the practical things, then we should conclude here. Oh, this is what happened here. I think this is something totally against the physics till now what you learned, because what is the constraint? The classical mechanics is unable to explain this. Then quantum mechanics will definitely help us a lot. In account to quantum mechanics, yes, Hadoop can justify that why only it happened here. Classical mechanics is unable to answer. See, nobody can answer. No, the knowledge what you have, very strange thing for us. The knowledge what you have now. So what do you say that one? So how it is possible? 1, 2, 3, 4. Anyone can occur. So the reason for this is quantum mechanics. This was the failure of classical mechanics here. Got the idea, no? So when collision of particle comes, you be alert. Any of the questions can be asked. So it's like a sir, it should be add-on. It can be add-on or it can be two-dimensional. Same thing here. It can happen here. It will collide. The particle 1 will rebound and the particle 2 will move towards right. Next time again you send, they will deflect like this. So there's a one situation what it happens with the subatomic particles. So in detail what happened, we are going to focus this in nuclear physics and in atomic structure, because in chemistry you studied atomic structure. In physics what happened, we are going to analyze all such things. Maximum 60% of numericals are related with collision concept only. Okay, I'll go back to our problem. So now forget that. So any numericals 1 or 2 will come, just apply the concept and come out. So now come out of that collision of subatomic particles. When I define E, then definitely when I say particle or marble or ball, small ball means you should come back, take help of this Newton's laws of collision idea only. Read the question. Let me draw some rough diagram to explain. Diagram, can I draw everything in diagram? I think it'll become very small. I think some 2-3 steps will show it. That'll be sufficient. Now the ball. Oh, so it's a rough diagram. Curve unable to put it properly. No, this is dropped from height h, no? The height h attained by the marble. This much is there. Okay, let's proceed here. So first it will collide at A, collide at B. So then this distance, let it be h. You can take it that collision from edge to edge or somewhere to make you understand. I'm taking some arbitrary point here, like they'll collide here, and this is edge. Edge is the height of the width of the step. It is. So even some books open like they show collision from ear to edge to edge. So that'll be a little bit difficult for you to show at the corner. No? That's why I just shifted the diagram here. Same thing he did in the question. Okay, let's come to the problem now. In what direction the impulse will act on the ball? The impulse will act along y-axis, no? So let the speed of the ball just before collision, let it be v1. Speed of the ball after collision, let it be v2. So every time, no. How you define v1 bar? v1 bar, so it will have y component of velocity. v1y, it will rebound with the speed v2y. Same thing everywhere. And this will be x component, v1x after impact, v2x. Go back to collision. It will approach with a velocity v1y at point A. Then rebound with a speed v2y. And quotient of restriction for each bounce is E is equal to E. So therefore any equation can be write v2y is equal to E v1y. There's the one best equation what we can write it here. The first equation.
Sir,
Um,
sir, at point B, how did you say that velocity will be V1 and V2 only, sir? I mean, won't the velocity change because there is a coefficient of restriction?
why you're not looking at the edge? It will descend some height, no? It is not like somewhere here. If it were here, then continuously open, it should have decreased. But look at this height of the step. So when it moves from ear to ear, ear collision will occur. Then it will rebound with a speed v2. So then by the time here, it should be, you mean to say it should be v2 only, but it has descended some height, no?
I didn't mean to say it's V2, sir, but I didn't mean to say it's V1 either.
Look at the question, at least diagram. Why you're not looking at diagram? What you're thinking is correct, but look at the diagram, the way he has given. When it descends some height, it will acquire some speed v1. So you mean to say some v3 you write it, but you look at the pattern, how it describes. I think based on diagram, I'm assuming here, it must be v1. Again here, I'll put it here. The path what it describes, no, when it moves from A to B, then C to C, it will be same. You can see that one. The curvature, everything will be same. I think you have to look at the thing, that one. You see this. So therefore, it must be, don't write any other value. It must be V1 only. Then only the trajectory will get repeated, no? It's like a periodic motion. First, due to collision, V2y equal to EV1y. That is the equation. Next other thing, what is V1 bar will define it. V1 bar should be equal to V1x I cap minus V1y G cap, or V1 square equal to V1x square plus V1y square. Similarly, V2 bar equal to V1x equal to V2x. X component will not change due to collision. X component of velocity will not change due to collision. So therefore, this will be if you can, there's a basic idea of the problem. Because how the line of impact is along y-axis, no? So and there is no friction between the ball and between the bouncing ball and the horizontal surface, horizontal step. So v1x should be equal to v2x. Similarly, what is v2 bar? v2 bar should be equal to v2x I cap plus v2y j cap. v2x should be equal to vx. v2 square equal to vx square plus v2y square. Straight away, or I'll write one more step. Keep this one. And now, can we apply conservation of mechanics between A and B? Applying conservation of mechanic energy between A and B. At A, what is the speed of the particle? mv2 square by 2. Should be equal to m v1 square by 2. So therefore, v2 square equal to 2 v2 square plus 2gh equal to v1 square. There's the equation 1 and call this equation 2. Keep it here. So this is about the basic thing. Okay, let's come for the when it moves from A to B, it will have horizontal displacement and also it is having vertical displacement, and it will take some time to move from A to B. So when it moves from A to B, along y-axis we'll write the equation now. Along the y-axis we'll write the set of equations. So this is about the initial thing. So let's come for some kinematics part. Now what is v1y? You can write it as writing equations of motion along y-axis when it moves from A to B. v1y should be equal to v2y minus gtab. Why negative sign for v1y? How v1y will be? Y component of velocity will be opposite to v2y. v1y just before collision. v2y after collision. So v1y how it is? Opposite to v2y, no? So this is the one equation what we have. Then along x-axis, this is along y-axis. Then along x-axis we'll write equation. Along x-axis, how much of distance it will move? A distance of h. A distance of h. So therefore this h should be equal to vx into tab. Fine. So like this is what I'm just assuming things to make the diagram. Now this we have TAB in the picture. So first, what is this TAB? You can write it as TAB is equal to v2y plus v1y by g. Call this equation 3 and let this be equation 4. So what is TAB? H by Vx, because H is given for us, so therefore I'm trying to search some relationship. Equating 3 and 4, I'll eliminate TAB, then I'll get H V2y V1. V2y V1y, I have equation 1. V2y plus V1y by G should be equal to H by Vx. Now what is V2y? V2y should be equal to, call this equation 5. Put 1 in 5. V2y should be equal to how much? E V1y. So this will be E V1y plus V1y by G is equal to H by Vx. So what is V1y? V1y should be equal to GH by 1 plus E into Vx. So there's one very basic equation. So call that as equation 6. Now we have V1y is there, no, and V1x is there. So what was our question? To calculate that Vx, no, Vx is unknown. Equation 6 will take it. So let me do one thing. In equation 2, so shall we substitute this V2 square as Vx square plus V2y, and V1 square as Vx square plus V1y square. Actually, when you are solving this problem, students, they neglect this. That's why you find very difficult. And you take help of mathematics something. This yellow what I shaded, no, these two equations are very important. So substituting those two here, I'll do it here in this one. V2 square, what we can write? Vx square plus V2y square 2gh. V1 square equal to Vx square plus V1y square. Vx square get eliminated. I'll scroll down. Okay, look at this one now. Now V2 square plus 2gh equal to V1 square, and V2y is equal to E V1y. If you where all if you want, you write it. This is something very important. Now substitute here. So this will be E square E V1y whole square 2gh equal to V1y square. So this will be E V1 square 2gh equal to V1y square. This value of V1y, what you'll get, you're going to substitute there. This is what equation 6. Let me take this one. E minus 1 or 2gh equal to 1 minus E by V1, V1y square.
Sir,
So what is,
1 minus E square, no sir.
yeah. So this should be 2gh 1 minus E square. So this let it be equation 7. Put 7 in 6. I'm writing
Sir, under
equation.
root should be there, sir.
Yeah, this one. Substituting that in 6 and 7, we'll get expression for Vy. So this is the root of 2gh 1 minus E square equal to gh 1 plus E into Vx. So what is Vx is equal to? So gh, this will be under root of 2 by check it once. I think we'll end up this one. 2h by g, gh by 2. So this is the expression for Vx. No. See, collision idea is very simple. Now, once we know Vx, I think we can get all other things, no? Problems little bit calculation based. Once we get Vx, can we find out horizontal component of velocity of the marble? So first is asking that one. A time between two successive bounces. What we calculated is question number 26. This is 26 answer. No. After getting Vx, can we calculate the A time TAB? Substituting here, look at this. You'll get TAB. So you do calculation later on. So this final answer, substitute in equation 4, will get TAB. This is the A time. A time from A to B. Then the height h attained by the marble after a bounce is asking to calculate this h. how to calculate that capital H, how to bring capital H into the picture. For that, we need V2Y, no? V2Y is needed. So can we bring V2Y? From Vx, we know V1Y. V1Y and you know V2Y. E V1Y. Then what is H is equal to? V2Y square by 2. I'll write it here. Do calculation. I'll go for next concept again. And V2Y is equal to how much? EV1. V1Y, we know it. Do calculation all this. I'll go for next concept. Now let's take this one. Collisions, no, let's bit some calculations. Okay, let's come back to variable mass concept, few problems. Read the question. A rocket, already we have discussed now. Yesterday's problem only I've just picked up. There's a rocket. It will eject a gas. So then the rocket, and u is the speed of ejected gases relative to the rocket. So shall we take this ejected gases u? And what is v? V is the velocity of the rocket. A thrust force will act on it. Then the weight of the rocket, mg, will act here. I think in space is telling her. He has not defined g, no? So let me take that one. In space it is. Okay, look at something is asking efficiency. Develop suitable expression for efficiency of propulsion. So let me define few terms. What is lambda? Lambda is the rate at which fuel is burnt. Now then, what is the velocity of this? Is the ejected gas. So what is the velocity of ejected gas? So this u we know. So this will be u equal to ve minus of minus v. Why it is? Because I'm taking downward as positive. The velocity of ejected gas, velocity of gas ejected with respect to rocket is u. Velocity of ejected gas with respect to ground v. That of the rocket is this one. So this will be u minus v equal to v. So what is v? Velocity of ejected gas with respect to ground. U is velocity of ejected gas with respect to or relative to the rocket. So these are the initial things. Okay, let's come for the what is useful power here? The thrust force. So useful power is the thrust force into velocity of the rocket. What is the thrust force? I think already you know. This should be equal to u lambda into v. Can you remember this? The formula is like this, no? U dm by dt vr. This is u dm by dt. If I solve it, how much I'll get finally? Lambda into v. Now come for this one. What is useful power? This should be equal to u lambda v. Oh, something lambda. This is dm by dt is the rate at which fuel is burnt. So this dm by dt you can also write it as lambda. So u lambda is what? This one. So what is the useful power? U lambda into v. Because this will impart momentum for the rocket. Now come for this one. What is this gas? The ejected gas will have some momentum, will also have kinetic energy. So what is the kinetic energy of ejected gas? Kinetic energy of ejected gas, this should be equal to K equal to mass of ejected gas by speed of ejected gas, VE, that we have calculated. So this should be equal to ME U minus V whole square by 2. Now this particular gas, ejected gas, will have a mass. Am I right, all of you? That will be. So now is it continuously ejected? Yes, the rate at which the kinetic energy of the gas varies here. So this, if I differentiate, dme by dt, keep these terms as it is. So dme by dt or dm by dt, what all if you want, you m again you should not. Okay, this one, yeah. I'll retain symbols here. Let it be this one, mass of ejected gas. So this should be equal to lambda u minus v whole square by 2. Fine. Now what is this dke by dt? Wastage, power or energy. Any use of this ejected gas? Nothing, no? That much of power is what? Will be lost here. So then how we define efficiency? This is a useful power. What is useful power? The power which will impart momentum to the rocket by total power supplied to the rocket. Total power supplied here. So what is useful power? U lambda V. What is the total power supplied? Useful power plus power due to wastage or wasted power. So substitute this U lambda V and lambda U minus V whole square by 2. Solving this will get an answer 2uv by u square plus v square. So this is the efficiency of the rocket. Efficiency will put a symbol eta. So like this, the efficiency of the rocket depends upon the relative speed with which gas is ejected and what velocity the rocket will acquire. So usually practically what is the efficiency? It will come around 70%. It's very good. You look at the jet airplanes, no, the efficiency is only 40%. Maximum efficiency is what we have 74%. And in India, the maximum efficiency achieved is 72%. In the French or you can say like Americano, when they launch it 74%, our Indian rocket 72%. It's very good. Because the fuel is costly, we have to save money. So there's a maximum possible efficiency till date 74%. Can be asked here something power related here. So no concept. I already have some basic background that you should apply in proper way. Now this already we discussed. No? Next, chain. This is a very basic fundamental problem. A chain of length L and mass M I'm going to lift it from the ground. It's asking what should be the magnitude of force and what is energy lost in lifting it. Why energy will be lost? I'm using word energy lost. After getting answer, we should justify where do that energy gone, not just simply by ending up with mathematics. So on the ground, on the ground, so here the chain is lying. The chain, what pen better to show links. There's a method what in the books also they're shown. Now I'm going to lift it up. Yesterday it was falling chain. No, now I'm just picked up a problem, rising chain, and also will bring the energy idea into the picture. So this part of chain will be at rest. Here I applied a force. So that this P momentum, you'll get confused. I'll write F naught. The force is what I applied it. Now let Y length of the chain be above the ground. Then I'm going to lift it up with a constant speed V. V naught. This is also given. Let's get into the problem now. First of all, what is this force? I want this force. What are the things that will act? How to calculate force? Any thrust force will act. In what action? Thrust force. So now again, immediately the thrust force will come. So what you should do? You should take help of the link. No. So there is a link which is at rest, which will about to enter the vertical part of chain. So what will happen to the vertical part of chain as the Y length increases? The mass of system increases. No. So now what is the system? The vertical part of a chain is a system. So always you should be better position to define what is the system here. Now we are not bothered about the chain lying on the ground. The chain that is being lifted. So this is a system. So it is having a velocity v. So this link will enter into the system. So the mass is getting added up to system. The mass which is getting added up, what is the state of it? Rest. So get into the problem. So this S is a system. So here first, I think we do like this. Velocity of the P. This is the link. Vp equal to Vp minus Vs. What is Vs? S is the system here. This velocity is what I have to find out. Velocity of point P, 0. That of this plus V naught. In what action the velocity of the point P when it's getting added to system? Downward. So this is what VR will write it, no? Show that we are in this direction. And now, if the mass of system increases, what action the thrust force should act in the direction of VR? So here is what? The thrust force. Agreed all of you? There's a method what we followed. Now, what is the total force I should apply? F naught plus weight of the vertical part of the chain. How much? Lambda Gy plus thrust force. How to calculate thrust force? What is the basic formula? There's a chain at rest on the ground. How to calculate thrust force? That should be equal to VR into dm by dt. Dm, what you can write? Lambda into dy by dt. And VR equal to V naught. Dy by dt should be V naught. So lambda V naught square. This is the external force. Huh? External force acting on chain. Now, look at this force, constant or variable. It's a variable, no? So let's do one thing. Work done by external force in lifting the chain from initial to this particular position. So it will apply constant or variable force. He will apply a variable force. Look at this lambda Gy. Variable force. Then it will do work. Then Y will, what is the displacement? So this end is what is holding here, no? This end of the chain. First he'll hold this link and it will start rising up. What is the displacement Y? So you apply constant or variable force, a variable force. That's the one thing. Then what happened? All that, what all it did work. A part of it is used to rise the potential energy of the chain, gravitational potential energy, because center of mass of the chain got lifted up, no? So increase in gravitational potential energy of vertical part of the chain. This is the one thing. Next again, kinetic energy of the chain. There will be some mechanical energy will be lost. What all it did work, a part of it converted into heat. Why do that heat will come? See, all of you have seen chain. These are the links, no? So when you start lifting up, what happen? One link will collide with other link, and look at this particular link, how they should move. They should move like this, no? The link is at rest. After some time, what happen? This chain will be here. So the link, what happen, will rotate like this. So when they're rotating, so definitely one link will collide with other link. I think you'll get some sound, no? Dug, 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 something, or any other sound you can generate. You try to check that one, any chain available, no? For suitcase, lockers, wedding, no? That chain you keep like this. Try to lift it, no? You get some sound, some humming sound, what we call. Why that sound? There is nothing but the loss in mechanical energy will convert it into sound energy, and a part of it will also be heat. So therefore, there is some sound energy generated, means there must be some loss in mechanical. That loss in mechanical energy is asking. Got the idea, no? Listen. So work done by exchange agent, we'll write it here. Should be equal to increase in potential energy of increase in gravitational potential energy of chain plus kinetic energy of chain plus loss in mechanical energy. How to calculate work done by exchange agent? So this integral of f d naught increase in gravitational potential. So look at this. What is the mass of vertical part of chain? Lambda y g y by 2. Where center of mass is will be at a distance y by 2. Kinetic energy of the chain. What is the mass of the chain? Lambda y 2 b naught square. This is what? Delta E. Substitute this, solve it, you'll get expression for delta V. Where do this energy? In the form of sound and heat. Why do sound will come? When links collide. So they say humming sound, like a gasping sound they call technically. So this now will integrate here. F naught is what? Lambda gy. So this will be lambda y v naught square by 2. This is what? Loss in mechanical energy. Can you calculate this? It's only integration. No? I'll go to the next idea again. No? I'll give the answer, verify it here. So delta E, this should be equal to lambda v naught square y by 2 in the form of sound and heat when the links collide. So therefore, I think when we are working some problems with the variable mass concept, we have to be very careful about the some work done, some heat will be generated, some energy will be lost because the thrust force will come into picture here. Now take the next one. This you can do it. I'll take the read the question. A railroad car of length L and mass m naught when empty is moving freely on a smooth horizontal track. It is loaded at a constant rate. Q is telling. Instead of lambda, he has brought that Q. There's no external force. It was moving with a velocity v naught. Now, what is the overall the idea of the problem? So it is take like this, So this is a fixed here. Let initial mass be m naught of the truck. Let's take this one here. Already we have discussed problem. Just some conservation of momentum is what I'm going to bring. No, so this is the same. That particular upper, or it's called as a chute. So that position of that will not change. Now where the truck will be. So the truck, let it be somewhere in this position. Try to see this now. So this will have some velocity v and some mass got added up, no? Some mass was getting added up to the system. The speed of car v at the instant when the car has cleared the chute. So some let it be x, that one. I'll take this is. Okay, let's write down the equation. Oh, inward action, the thrust force all. So I'll say net force acting on system. System means what? Mass getting added up and the trolley will become system. The mass which is getting added up. So inward action, the velocity of that added sand with respect to trolley. Yesterday we have done this, if you can remember. Vst equal to Vt. So velocity of sand with respect to trolley. This we don't know. Velocity of sand 0, no? And velocity of trolley is v towards right. And velocity of sand with respect to trolley is vr. So what is the direction of the mass which is getting added up? It will be, okay, I'll shift it a little bit up. Once again, I'm repeating what we did earlier. So here the mass which is getting added up. Inward action, it will have relative velocity, Vr. So and mass of system is adding up. So therefore inward action, the thrust force should act. The thrust force will act here like this. Now, will there be any thrust force on the particle also? Yes, it should be no, because Newton's laws of motion equal and opposite. So therefore, what is the net force on the system will be 0. So I to avoid confusion, I'll just remove it. Let's get into the problem now. What is the net force acting on system? I'll say 0. What force the added mass, what the mass which is getting added to system will exert? The same force, what happened? The trolley will exert force on this particular mass. Now, what is the system? Trolley plus this is the system. The mass which is getting added up to system and the trolley is that one. So let the total mass of system, let it be m. Now because m naught plus some mass getting added up here. Okay, let's write the equation now. What is the net force acting on system? I'll say 0. Sir, what about thrust force is acting? What thrust force will act on the trolley? The same thrust force will act on the mass which is getting added up to system. So then, so what is the basic equation here? M dv by dt plus v dm. You have to think in this way. So m dv by dt. This dv by dt is what? Acceleration. This is what? V relative. Or nothing but VR, that is VR. So what is dm by dt? Dm by dt is what? Q. This acceleration, I'll write it as v dv by dx. Okay, able to understand now? This will be, so this will be, keep as it is, don't change it. No. What are the things like? We have to calculate the speed of this one. No? So what is mv? Initial momentum was m naught v naught. Final momentum was mv with mass get added up. Initial momentum equal to final momentum, as net force is 0 along x-axis. So therefore, m naught v naught should be equal to mv. What is m? M is mass of the trolley plus mass of the sand got added up, the total mass it is. So this mv, I'll replace it here now. M naught v naught dv dx equal to minus v into q. Solving this, dv by v is equal to q by m naught v naught into dx. I'll write it below a little bit here. dv by v minus q by m naught v naught dx. So now this integrate. Initial velocity is v naught. Finally, when it attains velocity v, 0 to L. Is asking the velocity finally when it attains, no? When x equal to 0, it was it. So finally what happened when the rear end of the trolley reaches the chute, or say this particular hopper, that one. So x equal to L. Solve this. Log of Vf by V naught equal to minus QL M naught V naught. Okay, this is the expression for the speed of the truck when it is finally turned up, that one. I'll give a rough diagram. The idea of conservation of linear momentum is very important. Net force is 0 in fact. But sir, earlier you didn't do. If you take only trolley, because of that thrust force only open, the velocity will change here. Okay, no. So this is the overall things. How to calculate this total mass now? MF. Applying conservation of momentum. They're very important actually when you go for some applications. So this is the idea of the problem. The net force acting on system is 0. The force acting on, say, why the velocity of the truck will change? Because of thrust force again. Take next one. Yeah. What force, thrust force is acting on the truck, the same force will be acting on the mass getting added up. Net force will become 0. That's why momentum is conserved. There's a rope and a block. So slowly we are moving to some applications like a laws of motion one. A smooth rope of mass m and length lies in a heap on a smooth horizontal floor with one end attached to a block of mass m. The block is given a sudden kick or some impulse is applied. It starts moving. I think the entire numerical is this is a block of mass m. It'll be connected like this. Huh? EP is telling. One end of the chain will be connected to the block. So finally the EP will be, these are the links. Some X length is here and this is that point P. So what is the state of this heap? Heap, this will be called as heap. Get into the problem. Now again, directly, what is the system? This particular horizontal part of the chain and the block is a system, no? And the mass gets added up. Then again, you get into the basic thing, velocity of link P equal to velocity of the mass getting added up minus velocity of the system, also velocity of the block here. I'll write it here, velocity of block. Now, what is the velocity of point P? The link which is at rest will get added up to moving system. No? So even this chain will have velocity V. Please, this is being connected. No, this part will be at rest. I don't know how to. Well, I'll put like this. This part is rest, and the yellow part will be moving. You should make a difference between this one. So this part is moving. And the link open is getting added up to the moving part. I think I can't. I'm helping beyond this. Not possible. You should be able to understand. So what is the velocity? And this is a block. B is a what? Block, that one. So what is the point P which is getting added up to moving part will be at rest. This is having velocity V towards right. So this is what VR. So what is VR now? Minus V. So what direction it is having velocity? Towards left. So shall I put how the thrust force should act? Towards left here. Any reason? Because mass of system is increasing. So thrust force will act in the direction of VR. How to calculate the thrust force? Again, what is the net force? What force is acting on the moving part? The same force will act on the link P which is getting added to system. So what is the net force acting on system? I think in this problem I'll try to show it because some of you are getting confusion. So here there's a link. On the link also I'll show it, the thrust force. It is okay now? Net force, the link plus the link P which is getting added up to system and the moving chain and the block. This everything will become system. So what is P now? What we should say, link P is added to moving part of chain block system. So now what is the system here? I'll define that link P plus chain and moving block, that everything is system. So what is the net force on system? Will be 0. So can we conserve momentum now? Because this part was at rest totally. And this yellow color part is moving as usual. So what is initial momentum? MV naught. So applying net force on system. I'm writing very confidently and crystal clearly. Net force on system is 0, I'm saying. So initial momentum equal to final momentum. Initial momentum MV naught. Final momentum M plus what is the length of the part of chain? X. Lambda be the mass per unit length. Lambda X, or what is the lambda not defined, no? M by L X. So total this is B, mass be M. Some X length is there. So M by L by X, that one, into this is V. Okay, I got expression for V. So what is V is equal to MV naught by M. Now I think capital M, small m, please take care. This is capital M, MXL. This is expression for the velocity at any point. when x length of the chain is moving. But what is the question asked? Find the magnitude of acceleration of the block of mass m. How to calculate acceleration? Acceleration is due to thrust force only, no? So what is the equation? You can write it. Acceleration is equal to thrust force by what is the mass of system? M plus ml into x. We don't know thrust force. What is the thrust force? How to calculate thrust force? Thrust force is what? Vr dm by dt. Vr is what? Equal to v dm by dt. How to calculate dm by dt? Dm by dt. D by dt is equal to mass of the chain per unit length into x, no? So this should be equal to v small m l dx by dt. What is dx by dt? Should be equal to this one. So v m l v, or this will be mv square by l. Small m, small m, small m, capital M. Or if you want to write here dx, so what is m by l? M by l will become mass per unit length. L is the length of the chain given, so I'm writing it. So substituting this here, mv square by l will get the acceleration of the chain. So different ways of asking some questions. And what is m? Again, what is v? V again you should replace with this equation 1. Substitute 1 into will get acceleration. Then what about the tension? Tension should be equal T equal to ma again. Think on that one. Is asking tension at the point P. Tension is the rope at point P at this particular point. So the tension should be equal to the total mass of the system. So I'll write down you mass of moving system into acceleration. So different ways of asking all these questions for you. Variable mass concept is being asked in different way. Okay, let's take the another one. Yeah, one more problem will. Let's take this one. A car has total mass. Read the question. I'll give the diagram. Let with very good problem where he's asking to bring your laws of motion into the picture. So initially this the so this is a fuel part. Rough, it may not appear like a car. Okay, assume it to be car. Total mass 50 kg. Gases are ejected. This is a gas. I'm just giving some small diagram. Now read the question so that you'll understand the equations what I'm going to write. What is the mass of the car? Has total mass 50 kg. Gas are ejected. Total mass of gas is 20 kg. So what is the mass of the gas? Is 20 kg. Mass of the car is 30 kg. No? So therefore the total mass will become 50 kg. And initially let it be a test. And there's a gas or a fuel, whatever you can say this one. Now there's a system. Initially this is T equal to 0. Now I'll ignite it. Then the car, what happened? Starts moving. The gas will be burnt. The gas will be ejected. No, that's what we are assuming here. No, so at any instant of time, Now what will happen to amount of gas? That will decrease. In what action the momentum will be imparted towards flight? Okay, let's go back to the all the things. What is the direction of thrust force? The gas will be ejected towards in the backward direction. VR. Then mass of system decreasing. Then in what direction the thrust force should act in forward direction? In what direction the friction should act? The friction should act backward. I'll show the resultant friction will act backward. When the car will start moving, only when I'll switch on the car, then as it, because of the variable mass concept, thrust force will act. So when the car will start moving, only when the thrust force is able to overcome the friction. Only when the thrust force will able to overcome the friction here. So the car starts moving. All of you read the question. I'll make it question a little bit smaller. Data, I'll make it this one. Yeah. Immediately will car will start moving. That is what we have to cross check. Fine. That's what we have to cross check here. How to do that one? So let's calculate the thrust force. How much of thrust force is acting, will calculate here. So now the car will move. F thrust is equal to limiting friction. So what is F thrust? F thrust should be equal to VR dm by dt. Then this should be equal to mu, mass of the car at any time t. So what is VR? I think some relative velocity from the backward, it's a relative velocity 20 meter per second. This we know. The rate of rejection of gases. So shall I write that dm by dt is 2? All of you? dm by dt is 2. Then mu is how much? 0.1. What is m? What I should write m? With the time, the mass of the system will decrease, no? Because some gas will be ejected. So therefore, what was the initial mass? 50. And at what rate the fuel is burnt? For every 1 second, 2 kgs. So minus 2 into t into 10. I'll calculate this. Allocated time. This time will be 5 seconds. So the moment you switch on the car will not move. The reason for the thrust force is unable to displace the car. Once what happened, as the fuel I continuously burn. So what happened to mass of the gases will decrease. Then 30 kg plus the mass of the fuel will be continuously decreasing. Once what happened, the normal reaction decreases. Means initially what is the normal reaction? N naught. This should be M1 plus M2G. Whatever the normal reaction here, this should be mg. So what happened to mass will continuously decrease, no? Then the normal reaction decreases. Then the friction will decrease. Once now the thrust force is able to overcome the friction, now it starts moving. So for t equal to 0 to 5 seconds, what is the state of car? Car is at rest. For t greater than 5 seconds only, it will start moving. Able to understand now? This is the thing. So now let's write equation. F thrust minus F should be equal to ma. So what is asking now? The time at which car starts moving. Okay, this is the thing. The first part. Then the maximum speed of the car. The time taken for car to come to rest. How to calculate maximum speed of the car? When the maximum speed will be attained? When the old fuel is burnt, no? When the old fuel is burnt, then the car will attain maximum speed. Am I right? Because thrust force will continuously act and the friction weapon will be decreasing. When the old fuel is burnt, then the car will attain maximum speed. How to calculate the time taken for the whole fuel to burn? What was the initial mass of 20 kg is the mass of the fuel, and for every 1 second 2 kg is burned. So what is the time taken for the whole fuel to burn? Let T be the time taken how to calculate this T. I'll come to, let's calculate that T. That one. How to calculate this T? M naught minus 2T. Also, like a mass of the fuel is how much? M1. Because you should not bring mass of the car. Car will not burn, only the fuel will burn. What is the mass of the fuel is M1. I'm showing here M1 minus lambda into T equal to 0. So what is M1? M1 is 20. Lambda is what? 2 kg per second. Now let me put a symbol here. It'll be easy for you. So here also if you want, write lambda. No, 2 minus 2 into this. So what is T equal to? 10 seconds. So let's write now the equation. Ft minus F equal to Me. What is Ft? Thrust force. This should be equal to. And what is the acceleration? Ft by M minus F by M. Thrust force is what? Vr dm by dt. This is M minus. What is F? F should be equal to mu mg. I'm making problem little bit simple by assuming things. So this will be Vr dt. Recollect very first rocket propulsion, the same equations I'm bringing here, minus mu g. So what is the acceleration now? Acceleration will become dv by dt. Equal to minus Vr dm by m. Adjusting dt on both sides, the equation will be dv is equal to minus Vr dm by m minus mu g dt. Now the limits you have to be careful. Rocket propulsion concept only, I'm just applied it here. Initially, at t equals 0, what is the velocity of the car? It was at rest, no? This is after some time t. This is the thing. Initially at t equals 0, shall I start it, or t equal to 5 seconds I should start? Limits are very important. At t equal to 0 to 5 seconds, the car will be at rest. Now after 5 seconds, it will move. So therefore, the limit should not be 0, it should be 5. Then, what is the speed of the car? At t equal to 0 to 5 seconds, what is the rest? Then, what is the total time taken? 10 seconds. It will acquire maximum speed. What to do with mass? What is the mass of system? After for every 1 second, 2 kgs. At 5 seconds, how much of fuel is burnt? 10 kgs of fuel is burnt, no? Then what is the mass of system? 40. Finally, when all fuel is burnt, then what is the only mass of the car is left over, no? It should be 30. Able to understand the limits? At t equals 0, what is the mass of system? 20 kg fuel, 30 kg mass of the car. When all fuel is burnt, what is the mass of system? 30. Then it acquire final speed. Then at t equal to 5 seconds, till 5 seconds, how much of fuel is burned? 10 kg of fuel. So from mass of system, remove 10 kg will be 40. Solving this will get Vmax.
Sir, one doubt, sir. Sir, thrust force.
I'll finish off problem, then you can clarify it. Let me finish.
Okay,
off.
sir.
Log of 3 by 4 minus mu g t 5 by 10. So, or sell this one. log m 40 and this is 30. So this will be Vmax is equal to Vr log of 4 by 3 minus mu g 10 minus 5 I'll get maximum speed equal to 0.6 meter per second. This is the maximum speed attained by this one. After this, what will happen? There won't be any fuel left over. The car will happen will experience only friction force, will undergo retardation, and come to rest. No? So after this, 0 equal to Vmax minus mu g T dash. What is T dash equal to? After again, it will move further some distance and finally comes to rest here. Once the fuel get over, it only friction force will act. Then this is condition. Somebody asking doubt? Yeah.
No, sir, nothing, sir. Thank you.
Overall situation. So I think just you have to read that immediately it will not move. Only when the thrust force is able to overcome the friction, it will start moving. This is the idea of this problem. Some questions in variable mass, you have to be careful. Application comes little bit, you have to be alert. Computer, I think you have a chemistry class. Yeah. The last thing is time taken for the car to come to rest. Because after this, what happened? No longer thrust force will act, no, only friction force will act. I think I'll give one small diagram. It'll be easy for you. It has acquired a velocity. Only mass of the car is how much? M3, no? Or so this is M2. Mass of the car is M2. It has acquired maximum velocity and empty fuel. There's no fuel. Then a friction will be acting, and finally it will slide some distance, will come to rest. No fuel, no. This is at what time? Here, no fuel. That is what I'm writing directly, you know, friction idea, no? So it will undergo retardation.
So time taken for it to come to rest will be 10 seconds plus 0. Like 10 seconds plus this time, no, sir?
That time.
Okay.
Total time, the time taken for car to come to rest means first 5 seconds you add up, then this 10 seconds, next the T dash. After what time it will come to rest? Now I'll switch on, then after what time it will come to me, so you have to add up all those times. 5, then this 10, then next T dash.
Okay, sir.
The fuel, the mass of the system decreasing dm by dt negative. Okay, finish. What's big deal in that one? Thrust force, what is the thrust force? VR into dm by dt, no? Therefore, that's why I brought it. Because how to calculate thrust force? VR into dm by dt. From there, I brought it. I'll close it. I have next class again. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Tomorrow, I think festival is there. We'll see. Interested, I'll take class. If you're interested, I'll take class. Interested in evening, I'll take class. If everyone interested, then I'll take class. For me, no problem. Any day I can discuss. Okay, regarding tomorrow, we'll see. Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop recording.